What's up, ladies and gents? So today I went and watched Dredd 3D and it was an enjoyable film. So it's already obvious from the start of the film that this is not the same kind of film of the original, starring Sylvester Stallone. I think Pete Travis really takes a different route this time, trying to make it more gritty and more dark compared to the more family-friendly route that the Sylvester Stallone movie was taking, which was, trying to play it safe, trying to make loads of money. This movie, I think it was obvious that Travis wanted to make a Dredd movie and not just try to rake in the cash. And even though I've never read any Dredd comics, I think it's kind of obvious, even if you're not familiar with Dredd, that Travis really wanted to take the adaptation seriously and he really respected the source material. Now, I've heard this movie is very similar to The Raid, which came out earlier this year. Unfortunately, I have not watched this movie, so I can't really compare it to that movie. So I'm just going to review this movie by its own merits, and as an individual movie, it wins on mostly everything. The story is very interesting, being only limited to one building, so there's not much of a variety of scenes. They're mostly in this building, and with the nature of this one building kind of story, this movie could turn all sorts of bad. However, I think Travis does a great job with what he's given with the story. Now, Karl Urban as Judge Dredd, I think he does a great job. I mean, let's give the fact that, most of the movies, you only see the bottom portion of his face. And with what he was given, I think he did great. Also, I think he makes a badass Dredd. He's a freaking badass in this movie. But who really steals the show, I think, is Olivia Thirlby. I can't pronounce her last name, but plays the Anderson, that plays the rookie Anderson, who's just joined the force and has failed to test to join the force, but because she's a mutant who has telepathical abilities, she can read minds and stuff, they give her an exception. And I think she does a really good job. She starts off as this really optimistic character who wants to serve and protect the world, but as the story progresses, so does her character, and we really see a progression with her mindset, what she thinks. She starts to realize what it really takes to become a judge, what it entails, the difficult decisions that she has to make. And also, in contrast with the Dredd character, which has already experienced what this job entails, already knows, what he has to do. He's already experienced all this, all this stuff. So the contrast between these two characters make it a very interesting pair. Now, I only have two gripes with this movie. One is the world it creates. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the world it creates, but that is one of the reasons why I have a problem with it. Because due to the nature of this film, like I said before, they're only limited to one building. We barely get to see the world that's been created, that we see in the beginning of the film. The little of what we saw, what I saw really interested me. And I wanted to see more. Unfortunately, I didn't. And hopefully, if they ever make sequels, they really expand on this world they created. The second gripe I have is the 3D. For a movie that has 3D in its title, it doesn't really do a good job using the 3D. Sure, there are some interesting scenes that utilize the 3D, but all together, all around, the 3Ds didn't seem very necessary. I mean, I'm sure the film would have been great without it. So in conclusion, I thought this movie was very fun, very enjoyable, and I wholeheartedly welcome sequels, because I think this would be a very interesting franchise to watch. I mean, this movie makes me want to watch more. I must be doing something right. So, my final score for this movie is 8 out of 10. I really recommend you watch it. I mean, if you watched the original and you think it was horrible, trust me, this is very different. Not the same movie. You might completely change your mind. It's a different movie, and I think Travis really, even though took it seriously, also had fun with it. So go watch it. So that's it for this review. Like the video if you liked it, favorite if you want to favorite it, subscribe for new content, and I'm out. See you guys later.